All right, everybody, welcome to Crowd Mountain Bootcamp Module 6 webinar. Bootcamp Module 6 is called Power Networking, and it's all about using the social networking properties that are out there to become the established expert, authority, go-to person in your niche, and also using those social networks to build links. And let's speak on that for a moment first. Oh, actually, the first thing that we need to talk about is here. I just posted it in Crowd Mountain Connect. Tomorrow, June 10th, Karen's birthday. Karen does amazing things in the background and, via comments and the support desk to give you guys the best experience in Crowd Mountain. And tomorrow is her birthday. So, everybody, do your best to send her some birthday wishes tomorrow because she certainly deserves them. She is a fantastic, smart, talented lady, and she does a lot for everybody, myself, you guys, and she deserves all of the well wishes that we can muster up. So, power networking. Let's talk first about the goal here with social networking because that is something that people still constantly don't understand, misinterpret, and then wonder why they're not getting the results that they wanted from social networking. So, the big deal here is that you need to know what kind of person you want to be in your niche. Do you even want to be a person in your niche? Do you want to be like the face of juice cleansing or the face of John Lennon sunglasses in my example sites? Or are you simply interested in having your site rank highly in the search engines and drive some traffic through your affiliate offers and therefore make some money from it? You're going to be using your social networking sites completely differently depending on your goals. So, let's first talk kind of a brief overview of if you really want to be the expert in your niche. You want to be the person where they're like, hey, hey, go to Michelle to learn about internet marketing or go to, Jim to learn about kiteboarding, whatever the case may be. When you are using social networking sites for the purpose of establishing yourself as the expert in your niche, you need to be a real person. So I should never, ever, ever see a stream on Twitter or your Facebook page or any other forums that you might participate in because they're active in your niche. I should never see a stream of content from you as the expert in your niche that is link after link after link after link because that is not social, right? You just look like kind of a jerk then, and people don't respond well to that. You're not going to get the traffic that you want. Social networking on the internet is just like networking in person. When you give a little, you get a lot more back. Case in point, you use Twitter or your Facebook fan page for your topic to let your fans and followers know about news in the industry, and you're going to be possibly linking them to another person's blog post, another person who wants to be an expert in your niche too. And could that be detrimental to you? Well, I mean, I guess because they might find that they like that other person more than you, right? But in the end, what you're doing is showing to people that you are not concerned as much with those sort of petty competition sort of worries, but that what you really want to do is give to the people. You really want to give them the information that they're looking for. You really want to help them learn as much and know as much as you do about your particular topic. And people respond well to that. They know that you have their best interests at heart. They know that the niche is a passion of yours and that you want it to be a passion for other folks too. So I can't emphasize enough how important it is, if you want to use these sites to establish yourself as the expert in your niche, that you need to be a real person. You need to talk about not just yourself. You need to talk about not just your own blog posts, your own products, and you need to talk about the market as a whole and help educate people. And actually, let me bring you over here to a post that I really want you to read. Go to michellemcpherson.com, and then Where's my search box? Is it down here? Yeah. Okay, put in pillars. Go down. It's not me, it's you. The 3 pillars of social media marketing. Okay, this is a super duper important post for you who want to use social networking as a, uh, you know, avenue to become the authority in your niche. So let's talk about it. The way that we all start out, pillar 1, broadcasting. You're sitting out there, you're talking about yourself, you're talking about your product, you're talking about your website, and you're using your social media sites as a way to transmit that marketing message to other people. And there is a time and a place for that, absolutely. However, if that's all that you're doing, you're kind of at the bottom of the barrel in terms of using social media effectively. So then, pillar 2, next step up, is when you can provide people in your niche with support and information. So this is when you're publishing, say, links to somebody else's content that's really good and it's about your topic. This is when you use Twitter search to find people who are talking about your topic and you respond back to them, perhaps with, an answer for a question that they have or some assistance. This is when you really, and I hate this term, but it's the whole, join the conversation thing. Sorry. You find out what people are talking about and you become a part of that without having a hidden agenda to, hopefully if I answer this question, I could sneak a link into my product. That's not what we're doing here. You need to be genuine. You need to just help. So instead of being on pillar 1 where you're sitting there and saying, me, here's my blog post, here's my product, here's my this, my, bye. You're now reaching out to people. And from this, you can actually establish some really awesome, genuine friendships. As you meet people in your niche, assuming that you are trying to become the authority in your niche, I'm assuming that you have an interest in that niche and you can really bond with other people in your niche and, perhaps even come up with like some JV deals and stuff like that down the line. But again, friendship comes first, right? And it doesn't need to be, that they babysit your children. You trust them that much kind of friendship. But, knowing somebody, knowing what they do, they'll know you. They know what you do. They know what you're like. And let's talk too a little bit about being personal on social networks. I think that if you tweet all day or Facebook all day about, what you're having for lunch or what you're watching on TV, yeah, you're boring. And nobody wants to read that. But as a authority figure in your niche, there's a certain mystery around that. There's people who are going to be looking up to you. And by publishing now and again, not all the time, but now and again, something that's a little bit more personal, you will find that people will be able to bond with you a little bit easier. So we don't want to do that 24/7, but we do want to do it occasionally so that you can become a whole, real person to the folks who are reading your stuff. Scrolling down, pillar 3. This is when you're broadcasting out about your own stuff, of course. You do need to do that. Like I said, there's a time and a place. And then you're also supporting everybody else by providing them the information that they need in their niche, answering questions, using Twitter search to find people. And then what we do is we take the me out of the equation altogether, as I wrote. Because you are now becoming the number 1 authority, the number 1 expert in your niche, people will begin to follow your example. So when they see that you have a new blog post up, they will oftentimes publish it. When they see that you've published a link to, say, somebody else's article, when they see that you have an article out, they will now do that for you. And you really need to work hard at pillar number 2 in giving back to the community to get to pillar number 3. But instead of being the person who's yelling all about yourself, you will find, as the recognized authority in your niche, as somebody who truly has the best interests of their friends and followers at heart, and that's shown by their behavior on these social networking sites, people will begin to become your, quote, fan club, and they will begin broadcasting for you. You take a book like How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you read that with the goal in mind of applying all of that to social media. There's no tricks to social media as far as, here's how to make $10,000 on Twitter in one day. And I'm not saying that it can't be done, but what I am saying is that that isn't necessarily a long-term business plan, and it really doesn't bode well for your longevity in that marketplace. When you do this, when you build the actual relationships, when you start giving back to people and then they start giving back to you because you've done that and now they're following your example, that is a long-term relationship that you've created with these people, and you'll be able to drive them from your social media properties into your other methods of contacting them, whether that be RSS subscribers, email subscribers, or even customers. But we don't look at, when we're using social media in this way, we don't look at how many sales have I made off of Twitter today, because you'll never actually know how many sales, say, Twitter brought in. Um, I can run the analytics and I know specifically how many sales Twitter itself brought in. Like a link from Twitter then resulted immediately in somebody purchasing one of my products. But that number is very, very low, because what happens is generally the people who love you the most join your email list, they join your RSS feed, and they don't buy from a link on Twitter, but it's that Twitter presence or that Facebook fan page presence that lets them know, like, and trust you. And then that leads to them buying down the line. So keep that in mind when you're using the social media properties to actually become an expert in your niche. And take everything that you've learned about business networking. If you've been in any kind of MLM or real estate or any of those professions that are really big on networking, take that and apply it to what you're doing on social networking sites, and you will thrive. Question here. Jim says, so having a number of tweets with links to other people's articles, posts, videos, news that you feel is important is okay, and if 1 out of 10 to 15 is okay. Yeah, you need to do that, because you're, as fantastic as you personally might be, there are other people in your niche who have something to contribute to the conversation. And sometimes, you'll take people who perhaps aren't as well known in your niche as you are, and you will link to some of their content because they put out some great content, and you'll give them a little bit of exposure in that respect, and they will become your lifelong cheerleaders because you've done that for them. And then they will do that for you every step along the way. But the number one qualifier here is, of course, that it is good content. Nancy says, practice the philosophy of abundance. Exactly, Nancy. So now let's take a look more at a site like this, John Lennon Sunglasses. Not going to be the John Lennon Sunglasses expert of the internet, personally. Not really interested. I really don't even know if I did want to be the John Lennon Sunglasses expert on the internet, what on earth I could go on and on and on about in that particular marketplace. So for this type of site, or just a site that you have an utter lack of interest in, because all that relationship building and all that kind of stuff, it does take time, and it's simply irresponsible to think that you could do that for every one of your sites, that you could become that market leader for every single one of your sites. Now you might find, and here's something kind of a down the road proposition, that you have a site that you aren't necessarily super hot to trot about its topic, but you get some good rankings, and you know that there's a lot of money available in the niche, and you know that there is content that could be written, spoken about, shared on social networks. You can go to forums where people talk about whatever your topic is, and find one of the most enthusiastic people on those forums, and you can hire them to be your presence, to be the guy who sends out the tweets and starts the conversations on the Facebook fan pages and manages the Ning forum that you start, or that kind of thing. And in that way, your site then becomes the hub, the authority place in your niche. So that's something to consider down the line if it is a niche that you do want to move into as far as becoming an authority in, but you don't necessarily want to do that work yourself. It can be done for you. And the best way to do that is to find somebody who already has a passion about the topic. That being said, something like John Lennon sunglasses, yeah, I got nothing to say about John Lennon sunglasses. You know what I mean? So, um, although this actually might be a topic for a Facebook fan page because, there are going to be people who feel them and like them and will like them on Facebook and therefore become a fan of your page. So that's something to consider when you're dealing with a consumer product, that there are probably people who like it and like, like I used to date a guy in high school who wore those what do you call them? Little golf hats every day, right? And he would probably become a fan of whatever those are called. So you're dealing with a consumer product. There's always somebody who's really into that, and there's probably somebody or several people who wear this style of sunglasses and would like it on Facebook. So that's something to consider with Facebook. But overall, I really don't want to be sitting around tweeting about John Lennon sunglasses. So what I'm going to do instead is focus on the link building methodologies that we can use with this module. So first thing, we need a Twitter account. I still recommend when you start your Twitter account, even if you don't necessarily plan on being incredibly active with that Twitter account, I still recommend following what we did in the Bootcamp Module 6 videos. And so you create the account, you send out a couple of tweets, and then use Twitter search and find a few people who are talking about your topic. I probably wouldn't find anybody specifically who's talking about John Lennon sunglasses, but I could find people who are talking about sunglasses. So let's check that out. And then you just friend those people. And what that does is it creates links from their Twitter page to your Twitter page, which helps your Twitter page get indexed. So let's go. Sunglasses. I wouldn't necessarily friend the stores like this, but here's somebody who is a real person. I would probably friend her. And most likely they probably won't friend us back, but that's okay. We're just trying to get some links out there and some activity on our page. And then you just set up your Friendfeed account to post all of your new blog posts and all of your stuff to your Twitter account, and then you leave it be. That's all you need to do, because this isn't, like I said, you know from the start that you're not trying to become the expert in this niche, and that's fine, and you're just using it for links. Friendfeed, same thing. You create the account, you put in the other accounts that you have, like YouTube. Later on down the line in this module, you put in your Twitter feed, you put in your blog's RSS feed, and bingo bango, you have some more links out there for you. Friendfeed is no longer really effective for the actual networking portion, the trying to become an authority and talking and meeting people. They were bought out by Facebook. Right now, their functionality is still up and it works. But we don't know how long that will be for. So, and most people, because of that change, have moved off of the site in terms of actually communicating on it. But it's still good for links. It's still very good for links, and it's still very good for aggregating all of your content into one place, getting that RSS feed from Friendfeed, and then being able to submit that to places like your Squidoo Lens. You can put in an RSS feed on it, and then that will republish all of your content and links over on Squidoo for you. So you're creating a big hub of links for you that way. And then, if you're in a niche like John Lennon sunglasses, and I've done my Twitter search here, I can get the feed, I can put it in Google Reader, but to tell the truth, I don't really care what goes on in this niche day to day. So this isn't something that I would do. I wouldn't get the RSS feed and then put it in my reader or anything like that for a niche like this that I don't need to be an expert in, right? Because I don't care. Video is still important to do when you're link building. So you still want to make your video. You still want to submit it through TubeMogul. If you have Traffic Geyser, you can use that as well, but TubeMogul is free, so that's what we're working on. Oh, dirty words. Video pages, you'll have RSS feeds from them that you can put into Friendfeed. Again, building links to your video pages via that RSS feed. And the video pages themselves have links oftentimes to your homepage. So we use it for link building. We also use it because video plays an increasingly important role in the search engine results pages, specifically YouTube videos. And so we do want to have that presence on the search engine results pages for our our niche. The other thing that you can do, and Andy Jenkins, of course, spoke about this in his big Video Boss launch, but video tends to rank highly fairly easily, and it tends to do so with very few backlinks. So you can, other than your friend feed page, which of course will link to your videos, you can actually throw a few links at your video pages, like your YouTube page where your video lives, and oftentimes get a very high ranking very, very quickly. In the meantime, you're working on your main site, also ranking highly, so you can potentially own several places of the front page of results and be driving even more traffic to your site, because you don't just have, say, the number 1 spot, but you have the number 1 and the number 3 spot, or however it plays out. Facebook is more important than ever. The way that they've just changed the fan pages, it is no longer that, oh, I am becoming a fan of, say, John Lennon sunglasses, but it's just called liking. So that has lowered the barrier to people actually becoming a fan of your fan page, because the verbiage there is a little bit less threatening. Becoming a fan of John Lennon sunglasses, that's a little bit more of a commitment, let's say, whereas just liking them, people are more inclined to hit that button because it isn't quite as much of a commitment or as big of a deal sounding. So it is important to have your Facebook fan page. Again, if nothing else, for the links, absolutely. You have your blog feed, it publishes on your Facebook fan page. You can have your Twitter feed published on your Facebook fan page. You could have your friend feed published on your Facebook fan page and get new content to it that way. And you can also use Facebook's share feature to send your Facebook fan page to all of your current friends. I wouldn't really recommend doing that unless this is a niche that you want to become known in and an authority in. If I told all of my friends right now that they should become a fan of John Lennon sunglasses page that I had on Facebook, they'd probably be kind of irritated. But for something like when I started my internet marketing fan page, of course, I let a lot of the people in the industry know that I had that up there on Facebook so that they could join that as well. And many of them did because they were in the industry as well. And so it gels, right? So when you have people on your regular friends list who may be interested in your fan page, then of course let them know about it. Excuse me. Facebook also, with their fan pages now, I think you need, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 500. You need a certain number of friends, though, to have your own custom URL for that fan page. But once you do, that's very good for your SEO. And, of course, your fan page links back to your main site, so that's very good for your main site's SEO. And Facebook fan pages are often found in Google search results. Plus, Facebook itself has one of the largest search engines out there in terms of searches per day. People are searching on Facebook all the time for stuff. So you do want to have a Facebook fan page, if nothing else, for the link. But again, you can widen your scope there and make it another tool to help you become the authority in your niche. And then we spoke about a little bit about last week, PostRace. Oh, Megan says it's only 20 fans that have to be on your page, or 25 to put in your custom URL. So that's good news. 25 is not that tough to get, right? Now, we spoke a little bit last week. Friendfeed, because they got bought out by Facebook and none of their attention is focused on development of Friendfeed anymore, many people are kind of looking for a replacement to Friendfeed, and that is PostRace. So let's take a look at that. So PostRace lets you actually integrate with a lot of different sites. Like when we hover over here for Social Media Pros, you can see that Facebook integrates with Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, Blogger, Typepad, WordPress, Movable Type, LiveJournal, Tumblr, Xanga, and more and more and more. And that is what makes PostRace the replacement, in a way, for Friendfeed. Everything can be aggregated and then auto posted to these other sites. So you can just send your email to your PostRace account, and once you've set up your WordPress, your Twitter, etc. with PostRace, it will automatically then post that content for you on those other sites. And that's what creates that sort of web of links for you to increase the link popularity not only of your home site, but of all of these other sites that are working together to build links for you. And I'm going to put together an actual full-on video of how to use PostRace for you, and that will be this afternoon. ScreenFlow is going to be rendering this video for the people who didn't make it live, so I won't be able to do that this afternoon. But say tomorrow, Friday, we'll have a video for you fully on PostRace and how to use it. I would still use Friendfeed because Friendfeed still has some great link juice and some great power to it. Heck, put your PostRace RSS feed into Friendfeed, right? It's another place to get a link. PostRace, though, at this point is most likely going to have more longevity than Friendfeed, and so that's a good place to start focusing on how to distribute your content easily. And this is a fantastic resource not only for the link building purpose and distributing your content, but it's also a fantastic site for the establishing yourself as an expert in your niche, because it lets you have a presence on all of these sites. You don't have to just post, links to your blog posts. You can create you can upload photos and post them to your blog, or you can aggregate information from other sources, and say, hey, this is a great post over here. You guys want to check this out, blah, 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 on, and send that out. You can write a really great article in your niche and send it out to all of these places via PostRace. So those are all tools that you can use to be the established authority in your niche also. Tom just answered that. Teresa and Megan say awesome regarding the PostRace video. And so those are the basic theories that you really, I cannot emphasize this enough, need to understand in your niche. Are you wanting to be the expert in your niche, or do you just want to get some links, right? And how you approach it at that point is going to be different for each one of those. Any questions, go ahead and put them in the box. But once you've answered that question, do you want to be the expert in your niche, or do you just want to get some links out there? Then you'll know how to proceed should you be talking on these sites. The other thing too, that I do want to bring up, different niches, of course, are going to have different sites that are super duper popular. For example, MySpace still tends to be like a younger crowd. Although Facebook has a younger audience now too, but Ning might have some really amazing active groups in your niche, that kind of thing. But you don't want to spread yourself too thin. So I think it's really important that you select 2 to 3 sites that you promise to be active on. And that might be your Facebook fan page, your Twitter account, and then a forum in your marketplace. And this again is if you're choosing to be the expert in your niche. You choose 3 places and you put your heart and soul into them, because you simply don't have the time to do that on 50 sites. Things like PostRace help you create more of a presence on those other sites. But what you want to do, let's say, is that I'm doing that. I'm doing Twitter, I'm doing a Facebook fan page, and then I'm participating very actively in a forum in my niche, right? Do I want to then just not have a MySpace page or not have a Friendfeed page or whatever? No, of course I still want to have those things. And what I want to say on them is that, hey, I'm more active over here. Here's my Twitter account. Here's my Facebook page. You can find me at this forum under the username, whatever. These are the places where I really hang out all the time, so come join me there. And that's the best way to not only have a presence on those sites, but also not make it look like you're totally dead in that niche, because that's never any good. Somebody comes to a dead page and they're like, hey, this person's not doing it anymore. They're not a part of this anymore. You want to let them know that, yes, you are a part of this, and here's how to get in touch with you. And then, of course, you also get a link back to your site from those other sites. So don't forget not to spread yourself too thin when you do decide to become an expert in a particular niche. Quick question for you guys. Actually, there's a poll here use the button below to create a poll. Create a new poll. Oh wow, that's bringing it up over here. This is a whole process. My goodness. Okay, so let's not go through that process because that's really ridiculously long. Instead, tell me in the questions area, just write expert or links and let me know which way of promoting your site with social media interests you more. Do you want to be an expert in your niche or do you want to just build some links? While you guys are doing that, we have a question from Karam. Michelle, even if I don't want to be an authority on all of my 45 blogs, how do I choose the ones I want to spend social network time on? I would say that the ones that interest you the most, because it is difficult to spend time on this kind of thing when you don't have any interest in the topic. All right, we've got a bunch of answers in, and it looks like about 3/4 of you are more interested in the link building, and about 1/4 of you are interested in the actual becoming a network in your niche. I'm just looking at some of these answers. Okay, so you guys, you're going to use PostRace, you're going to use Friendfeed, you're going to use your video, you're going to use your Facebook fan page, you're going to use your Twitter to just get some links out there. And, thank goodness most of that once set up can be done on autopilot, and then you use your Friendfeed account or your PostRace account to distribute that content for you automatically as you put it out on your blog. And it's a pretty simple process that was explained pretty thoroughly in our videos. And the one thing that you also should know is that if you're using, say, your Twitter account, and because it's auto posting, say, from your Facebook or what you do with PostRace once that video comes out, it can potentially get deleted because you actually aren't on Twitter contributing to the conversation. If you don't go and do the auto follow, crap that people do with Twitter bots, and if you don't spam a bunch of people by saying at in a Twitter, or sorry, in a tweet, and then linking to your own stuff or something, and it confuses people, that can result in spam complaints. Obviously the auto follow, the following thousands of people when you have 10 followers, all of that stuff can result in your account getting banned. And sometimes your account can get banned just because the Twitter gods look at it, because somebody complains and they say, hey, this person isn't really contributing to the community. When you're using an account like this just to auto publish the new content that you have on your site, it can get deleted. It doesn't happen that often. Don't be posting 40 things a day. I wouldn't anticipate that you would, because your site probably doesn't have that many new posts coming up per day. It certainly shouldn't anyway, even if you are using auto blogging stuff. So keep in mind that what you're doing on a social network site, they are meant to be social, and you are not being social. I'm not saying it's against the terms of service. The internet police aren't going to come and get you, but if that does happen, don't get super upset. LinkedIn, says Greg, how about it? LinkedIn is good for a link, particularly if you are in a business to business or any kind of businessy type of marketplace. I don't really care for LinkedIn in terms of actual networking, but it's good for a link. Megan says, how do we stay anonymous if we create a niche blog with a pen name and still create a fan page on Facebook, since you can only have one account on Facebook? Actually, your fan page doesn't show who owns that fan page. So it's pretty easy. Just create your fan page and do your thing. And as long as you don't share it with your friends, and you can even remove yourself from being a fan of that page so that nobody sees you associated with it at all, then there's no breadcrumb trail that leads back to you. Any more questions, folks? Give you guys a second. Karam says, I ran a site through the Odiogo process last night. After I have my links at those sites, is it cool to remove the listen button from my site? Yeah. Nancy says, if you're using Twitter to get links for several different products, should you set up a different Twitter account for each product? Um, yes, I would go. Well, no, pardon me. Within one niche, within, say, sunglasses as a whole, as opposed to John Lennon sunglasses versus Ozzy versus T shades, that's one account. Now, if I've got sunglasses and shoes, those are different things, different niches, different markets. That's two accounts. So it depends on how closely related those products are. Robert says, will PostRace take the place of Ping.fm for syndication? I didn't know anybody still used Ping FM. Um, Kirby says, how are you going to be doing the intense stuff during the coming weeks? What do you mean, Kirby? Peggy says, how do you manage your time with all these projects so that you are consistent? Do you have a set routine for building sites, content building, link building, social marketing, running your business, etc.? Um, well, a lot of it is not overcommitting myself. I have many things that are passions in my life and that I feel like, in my giant ego tells me that I have wonderful things to say about those topics to the world. And I would really like to become, an expert in more niches. But I know also that I don't have the time. So a big thing, don't overcommit yourself because you won't be able to fulfill those promises and you'll have a lot of half-finished projects. Do I have a set routine for building sites, content building, link building, social marketing? Yeah, and it's what you see here in the Crowd Mountain Bootcamp. Everything goes through this process. I find the markets first. I get the domains. I build the sites. I create content for those sites. I monetize the sites. The sites get links built to them. I determine how I want to move forward with social networking or link building. And then generally after that process, I let the site sit for a month or so and then I go back and see what it needs. Is my monetization needing some adjustment? Am I not getting enough traffic and I need to build more links? That sort of thing. 99% of what I do does not involve social networking in terms of being an expert in that niche. It's all comes down to link building and ranking because I don't have the time to be an expert in so many niches. It's just not possible. Running my business, yeah, a lot of stuff, hits my inbox and I react to it, which isn't necessarily the most productive way to go about things. But you know, is every day the same? No. I have a webinar today, so I know that I needed to come into the office and prepare for the webinar, and I took some notes on some really important points that I wanted to get across to you guys. In the meantime, I had a call from my merchant account that I needed to deal with, and things pop up like that. But for the most part, I guess I would say that my routine is when I get into like building sites, I get into a really intense like site building mode, right? And I don't get into building sites when like I know that I have a lot of other obligations. So I'll spend a week and just put my head down and build a lot of sites out, right? And in the meantime, I try to keep up on my email or mailing my list or whatever the other things that are going on are. But I do kind of try to clear space for projects and work in blocks like that as opposed to drawing something out over several weeks because I don't actually have the time. I only have an hour a day to say work on building my site, a big batch of sites or something like that, having it take a lot longer, and then I just end up losing interest. So I try to do really like focused, intense blocks of time when I'm working on bigger projects. Souza says there is an automated software for Twitter that can randomly post sales and niche tweets and personal non-sales tweets. It also has a meter so you're not booted off Twitter. You can set up several accounts with this program along with keeping track of all your tweets. Yeah, no, not a good idea. Greg, how many fan pages can you have? I don't know what the limit is. Jim says, following on to Karam's question, once Podcast Alley finds us, can we delete the post? Yes. Kirby says, the social networking focus. Oh, local focus. They're on the calendar. Yeah, we're doing outsourcing, auto blogging, email marketing. I've talked a lot in the last 2 webinars on exactly what's to come for those, so listen to those, please. Teresa says, Michelle, so for each niche you have, you develop all of these social accounts. Yes. And we do that with a tool like PostRace or like RoboForm that'll actually fill out the forms for you when you go to sites to sign up, or you can outsource it. But either one of those will make it go much faster for you. Michelle says, although I know you do a lot of outsourcing, on average, how long does it take you to go through research, setup, initial blog posts? And second, on average, how much time weekly for maintenance, like writing or link building, do you or the outsourced person spend? For one site, for me to research, set it up, and get the initial blog posts up would take me probably 3 hours, if that. And then how much time weekly for maintenance for writing or link building depends on the marketplace. Once a site ranks, oftentimes I will stop posting to it because I want to see if it can keep its rank without having new posts published. And oftentimes it can, and in which case I won't do anything else to it because now it's ranked and it apparently doesn't need any more content for Google to keep it where it is. If I see that it slips, then yeah, I'll do some more link building, or I will do some more content posting. But like the Juice Cleanse site, because that is an example site, I have it posted to every day or something, or 6 days a week. So that takes the outsourcer, I believe, about 45 minutes a week to do, because it's all based on images, and she puts up an image and writes something very quick about it. I'm using the keywords to post plugin so that she knows what she should be posting about, and she basically doesn't really have to think about it a whole lot. She gets a title for her post. She pulls in some sort of image that'll work with it, and then writes a few sentences. Does that 6 times every Monday for the next 6 days, and then it's done. And then also, if a site does need more link building, I don't do a daily link building thing. I do it in batches. Like I said, things I try to block out time for stuff. So if a site does end up needing some more links to rank, it will get some very focused attention, maybe, a half day or a full day from myself or from a staff member who will just work really hard on creating some articles, spinning those articles, and then distributing that content, or creating, social media type of accounts and posting to them or that sort of stuff. And then I'll let that usually sit for more like 2 weeks, and determine, what needs to be done from there. Megan says, when we're first starting out building our blog empires, my gut feeling is that I should stick with one blog until I've gone through all of the Crowd Mountain steps and then move on to the next one. I'm kind of ADHD and I seem to be jumping around. Yeah, I think that that's absolutely the approach that you should take, and that's the approach that I try to take when I build out my sites, is that, you go from A to D on your sites, and go through all the steps, and then you can let them marinate. They're going to need to marinate anyway, and so then you can start in another batch, right? And then you let your first batch kind of marinate for a month or 3 weeks, and then you go back to it and see where it's at and see what still needs to be done. But yes, it's important that you complete the process. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of half-finished sites, right? Tamina says, thanks so much for the email yesterday about Keith Baxter's 7-step system. I like the idea of building using MU blogs rather than social networking, as I don't want to be an expert in my niches. Can you possibly give any info or tips on using MU blogs, as I'm struggling to find finding MU blogs to join in my niche? Yeah, well, first of all, it doesn't really matter that they're in your niche or not, so don't worry about that. Also, Keith's system isn't about finding other people's MU systems, it's about creating your own. So you need all the domains. That's why he's talking about SEO hosting. You're going to buy domains to install MU blogs on, and then you're going to use his system to post to those MU blogs, which will then get you backlinks to your main site. So you don't need to find other people's stuff. Lisa says, tips for running your business would be a good series to do. Sure, Lisa, what kind of tips? Anybody else have any questions about that sort of topic? Put them in the questions box so I can kind of get a feel for what you guys are looking for. If we get time, could you show us where to find the eBay side widget to add to our sites? I have trouble finding it. Uh, Jeff says, do you keep yeah, the eBay thing, if you're talking about like widgets from the eBay partner network, is that what you mean? I'm not showing that. I mean, I don't have that on my site, so I don't know what exactly you're talking about because there's several ways to do that. But you can use like a plugin like PHP's on or eBay's on or E's on or P is it? Anyway, that plugin, it's a paid script and it'll get you. They have widgets, and then eBay itself will also provide widgets for you. Okay, Jeff says, do you keep a log of every task or link you do for a site? No. And Karam says, to what you're saying, does high search engine rank alone bring enough traffic to maximize a site's ROI? For example, once you have a top 5 position site, is spending any more time social bookmarking just diminishing return on time invested? If you've already done the social bookmarking, then yeah, what you need to do, say if you're in position 5 and you need to get to 1 and you've already done the social bookmarking, you need to go find another way to get links to your sites. So that might be, using Spider Snare might move you from 5 to number 4. And then you need to submit a batch of articles to some article directories that you find in the Crowd Mountain Snooper. And that might bump you up to number 2. And then, you need to do the social network account creation thing to link back to your site. And then that might bump you up to number 1. But, yeah, because if you're at position 5, you definitely still have some room to improve and you should go build more links. John, do you do most of your link building or does your VA do that? If both, what percentage do each of you do? Um, Actually, I'm kind of changing the system right now, so I'm doing a lot of it because I'm showing them how to do it. Um, Percentage wise, I would say that I probably do at least 50%, if not more like 75. But because I am changing the system because I don't want to be doing that much of it. So we're getting a little bit more automated, a little bit more efficient, a little bit more formulaic with the way that things are done so that I can have them do it pretty much hands off. Tom says, how much posting are you doing for a product type site? We'll talk about this more when we get into the auto blogging clinic, but basically, I want my post here, John Lennon sunglasses, with say 5 to 10 different styles of John Lennon sunglasses that people can buy. And then my other keywords that I was targeting, like Aussie sunglasses and T-shades, I would have a similar post for each one of those. They would be stickied, and I would build links to the site at that point and see if it ranks. If it ranks, great. I probably wouldn't touch it. If it doesn't, then I may use some content that'll be published down here because those other posts are sticky to create freshness on the site and to help me with my ranking while I also still continue to do a little bit more link building. Linda, how do you outsource your backlinking? Pretty broad question there, and something that we'll be able to cover a lot more in the outsourcing clinic that we're going to be doing. But basically, I show people how I want them to build links for me and what anchor text I want them to use, what sites I want them to target, and then they go and do it. Megan says, thanks, Michelle. This is so helpful, especially shooting for the 3 hours to get through an entire setup gives me a benchmark to shoot for. Peggy says, thanks for talking about how you maintain once you get everything up and running. Very helpful. Anne says, please tell me what an MU blog is. Look up WordPress MU, Anne. It's WordPress multi-user, so it's an installation of WordPress that allows you to have multiple blogs on one account, on one WordPress installation. But if you look it up, WordPress MU, you'll be able to get a more in-depth description. Okay, here's some notes for like business running type of clinic. Megan says bookkeeping. I'm writing these down. Typical day. Tracking stats. Anybody want to add to that? Bill says keeping it all organized. Uh, Lisa says time management, what to do each day for your business. Again, I'm writing these down. All right. Uh, Megan says split testing, tracking stats, making data-driven decisions about the campaign. Um, how do you find an accountant that understands taxes for online businesses? Gosh, John, if I had an answer to that, that would be awesome. Um, I spent a long time trying to find an accountant. Everybody's like, well, where's your inventory? And I'm like, I don't have inventory. And it was difficult finding someone. Finding an accountant. Um, how do you fit in affiliate campaigns? This is Megan. Fitting in, like mailings, you mean? Um, Clark says, not sure if this applies here, but I found a perfect, it works or it doesn't, type of niche, and I think I want to emulate it. However, I'm running into Amazon and Bed Bath and Beyond, monsters, etc. Even when I find exact match URLs, their sites don't have any matches because they are so big and very old domains. Am I barking up the wrong tree? No, it sounds like, assuming that all the numbers are right, Clark, that you're actually in a really good niche. Amazon, Bed Bath and Beyond can be beat out by your targeted niche site. Do you have to build a thank you page for ClickBank related products or just use the hoplink code? If you're promoting them, you mean? Then you just use your hop link and then that'll send people to the sales page. They'll then go through the ClickBank purchase process and then they'll be brought to the thank you page from that merchant, from the person who created that product, and be able to download their product. Teresa says, so would you say it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get a blog going, including build, let it sit, and fix anything? That includes like marinating time, right? So you can see results within days. If you put up a site, like I said, it takes maybe 3 hours or so to put up a site for me. And then I do a little bit of link building maybe the next day or something like that. And I can start seeing results that second day, right? But I still give it that time to kind of marinate because, as you guys know, oftentimes the rankings will jump around in the beginning. And so I will leave it be, let it do its thing, and let it just sit for a little while before I determine what steps, if any, need to happen for it yet, right? Or next, pardon me. Because I need to know that the information that I'm getting is stable before I make any decisions as far as I need to build more links or this monetization method sucks or whatever the case may be. So I wouldn't say that it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get it going because it can be going immediately. It can be going within a day or two. It can be going certainly within a week. But as far as like really actually getting traffic and actually ranking in your niche, just depending on how fast you move. Um, and that is what most often goes on when I put up a site. Say one night I do some link building even for it that evening, and then the next day I'll finish up my link building, and then I'll start seeing traffic, the day after. So you can see results very, very, very quickly when you move very, very quickly. But we still need to let it sit so that we know the decisions that we make down the line about traffic, about ranking, about monetization are based on some stable numbers. Clark says, it would be very cool if I could get an exact match for a certain kind of car accessories and just get noticed and point them to one of the big sites. Yeah, absolutely. Ann says, thanks for the MU tip. Russell says, time management. Okay. Karam says, how to provide metrics for advertisers, like people who want to advertise on your site, because that's the issue that you had on the last call, I'm guessing. That's what you mean. Metrics for advertisers. Kirby says all those running a biz question look great. Jeff says taxes. That's the 3 hours that it takes you to get a blog started includes keyword research. This is from John. If so, how much coffee do you drink to go that fast? As you're in this business, more and more and more, longer, you're just going to start to kind of notice things. And you'll be able to see that, your son or your sister-in-law or the kid on the street is really into whatever random thing it is, and you'll start to get an eye for that stuff. You'll see commercials on TV that make you want to run to Market Samurai. And, like I said, a lot of it'll just be kind of like a weird vibe that you pick up and are like, I wonder about that niche. You'll run to Market Samurai, and you'll find some market to go into. But a lot of what I do too is based on, in Bootcamp Module 1, I'm going to come over here for you. Bootcamp Module 1, domain name selection. In this video, I believe it's in that video. It might be in the Money Factory video, but I'm pretty sure it's in the domain name selection video. That's where I showed you how to export from Market Samurai a list of keywords, right? And then you put those into the GoDaddy bulk domain finder. So a lot of times I'll just do a batch of sites that have exact match domain names. And so those might not get as much traffic. They might not necessarily have the 100 searches a day or something like that we're looking for in our Crowd Mountain parameters, but I'll accept something, say, that has 80, because I know if I have the exact match domain that I'm really going to have to do very little work to get it to actually rank, and thusly it's still worth my time to set up a site in that marketplace with that exact match domain name. So oftentimes I don't really have to spend a lot of time picking the perfect keyword because I don't care. I just go with the ones that have exact match domain names. Peggy says setting up references for all accounts like passwords and whatnot. All right. Wink says, I see outsourcing is 3 days all day. Is that at your location or on the internet? No, buddy. Outsourcing is next week. That's actually going to change, though. There's a conflict, and we're going to have to switch probably auto blogging to be going on during the outsourcing week, and outsourcing will go on the week after. But that isn't official yet. Regardless, you see the outsourcing clinic goes on all week, and if you want to find out exactly what goes on during these clinics that we're going to be having, listen to the last 2 webinars because we talk about it quite a bit. Nancy says that she didn't realize that you could have more than one sticky post on a blog. Would the post that stays on top be determined by the most recent date or some other factor? That's exactly correct, Nancy. It's done by date. Local search for accountants. We're going to be doing local search. Oh, how to find a local search, how to find an accountant locally. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, it can be. I would actually, when we do this module, I'll tell you what I did. Please add overall time management for various projects. That's from Peggy. Thank you, Peggy. Already answered that. Laura says, you ever sell off your site? Sorry if this is a repeat question. Yeah, absolutely. And we can talk about that too. Do you guys want to do like a flip-a site selling sort of module? Because there's some cool stuff that you can do in the way that you present your auctions to have them bring in a lot more money. Teresa says that she meant in her question about like how long it takes to get the site going and then not having to bother with it too much. Yeah, I would say, less than a day for a new site. Yeah, people are feeling doing something on Flippa. Okay. Roland says, Michelle, have you had to set up an affiliate for a company? I found a great niche in Market Samurai so far, and it seems that the top manufacturers or dealers don't seem to have an affiliate program. I've emailed them, and I have yet to hear them back. hear back from them. Yeah, I've done that on many occasions, and most of the time they leave money on the table and don't set up an affiliate program, but you never know. You may have better luck rolling in your niche. Tamina says, thanks for the help, Michelle. I love this membership. Thank you. Michelle says, do you use the thesis theme for many of your sites? Yeah, I like thesis. I like it a lot because it is so simple that when I'm doing a project like the John Lennon sunglasses kind of site, there's not going to be anything on the page that detracts from my ads, right? Because thesis is pretty simple, and it does have some customizations too that make it nice to work with for SEO purposes and being able to customize the layout and stuff. But really, I just really like how simple it is because there is so little that can detract from people clicking your ads and because it works. You know, there's a lot of simple themes out there in the WordPress themes database, at WordPress.org, but you know there can be weird things. You know, this person's theme was coded this way, or you know, this plugin doesn't work with this theme. And with thesis, you know, I know that I don't run into those problems. Jeff says, Michelle, I can't explain how amazing you've been. Thank you, Jeff. You're amazing too. If you're using Amazon repeatedly, when you create a new site, do you let them know that you've created a new website to your account, or do they even care after you've been approved for the first site? They don't care, but I do use a different ID for each site that I create. So those are the ones that end in -20. So I would create a new ID so that I can just keep track of which sites are bringing in the most clicks. Megan says, haha, you know you're an internet marketer when you hear a story on NPR and it makes you pull the car over and do a roadside keyword research search. That is awesome, Megan. That is so awesome. NPR, that's a cool idea. Um, they talk about all kinds of stuff that would be really great marketing stuff. Greg says that his screen is locked on PostRace. Have I shown anything since? Right now we're showing John Lennon sunglasses, and right now I'm showing the Bootcamp Module 6 page. So Peggy says, with the WordPress MU video yesterday, the example site was tattoo-remove.org and it had a hyphen. Assuming it was for an exact match, do you think it is still better to add a word like now blog to the end of the domain if you can't get an exact match? Do you think it is too spammy to use hyphens? Finding sometimes it's hard for an exact match. Yeah, I don't like hyphens. I avoid them. They're spammy, spammy, spammy. Okay, I'm writing down Flippa so I don't forget that. We're going to do a Flippa module. And Flippa, Flippa, Flippa. Everybody wants Flippa. Oh, bummer. Megan says, oh yes, please, on the Flippa training. I wasted money on trying to sell a site and it didn't sell. Oh. Everybody's seeing the PostRace page. Oh, whoa. It stopped showing my screen. That's crazy. I didn't hit that button. Maybe I did. All right. Anyway, any more questions, folks? Give it a second. Karam says, do I know I rock? Thank you. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Kirby, Jim, Megan, Clark. Thank you all, guys. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you. Lisa, I did answer your question. You're going to have to listen to the replay. Laura says, cheers, Nancy. Thanks. All right. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Bootcamp Module 6 webinar. And I will let you know if that outsourcing clinic does get switched. I'm about 99% sure that it is going to get switched. And then we'll also do something on Flippa. We'll do something about just plain old running your business, just general principles. And this week also we'll have some stuff out for you on PostRace so that you can understand how to implement that into your link building. I also know now, thanks to you guys, that most of you are more interested in link building than you are the becoming an expert in your niche kind of social networking. So I will create future content with an eye towards that as well. All right, thanks so much, guys. And tomorrow we have a mastermind Q&A session. So I will see those of you who are mastermind members on that Q&A session, and we'll talk soon. All right, bye-bye.